What is going on, guys? It's Michael from GPURisers.com back here in the mining bunker. And in today's video, I am going to kind of just do a refresh of our RTX 3080 non-LHR build. And by refresh, what I mean is I'm simply going to be moving the 5 RTX 3080s that we have into our new frame. Now, you might be looking at this and say it's your new frame already, and you are right. However, this was a black one that we got a while back. I want to say probably about 7 to 8 months ago, and there was no white option, and we weren't just yet ready to, launch frames. So what we did was we bought a black one and spray painted it white, and you can see some of the parts here. Just after a while of moving this and everything like that, it does get dinged up. And this does feature a PNY SSD that's working just fine, so we're not gonna replace that with one of ours. This rig is utilizing older 4 capacitor risers. I'm not sure if you could see them right there. This is under our EVGA for the Win 3 3080, and we do have a newer one right there. However, we will be swapping all these out with 8 capacitor risers. The reason being is these do pull about 220 to 230 watts, so that's why we will be using those models. So I wanted to make a video on this. Usually I don't make videos just transitioning older rigs with newer hardware. However, this rig probably has been one of the more neglected rigs, and if you've been following the channel, we kind of have reached not maximum capacity here at the mining bunker. We do have our 3 PDUs, that's 30 amps each, and we have room for more. We could throw this one in there and be fine. However, I don't have the lights over there, so it's pretty dark, but we are getting 2 more 30 amp PDUs installed very shortly. But this one has been at our other mining location, and we have been having a ton of heat issues. So the EVGA for the Win 3 here runs perfect. I mean, no thermal throttling, it's 100 mega hash. This MSI Ventus would thermal throttle within about the first minute of being on. This MSI Gaming Trio X never thermal throttled, but it limits itself at 89 mega hash. This card right here would probably thermal throttle itself within, I want to say, 20 seconds of mining. I don't know what pads they used or what they did, but this thing just gets hot super quick. Down here we have our Asus Tough Overclock Edition 3080. This card actually does not thermal throttle at all. That one's been fine, but over the course of having this run, and I want to say that this has been running for about a year now, so obviously none of these cards were repadded, right? And we did launch our thermal pads here, and you guys are probably wondering, Mike, why did you not replace these yet and everything like that? And trust me, I was telling myself that for weeks and weeks now. However, sometimes, having this run, and we could have had about 40, 45 better, mega hash on this rig. I just had so many other, projects that I was doing, trying to get these cards up and going, that this kind of was on the bottom of my bucket list. So what I did, and I didn't, video it or anything like that, I repadded the Ventus Trio here. I updated the VBIOS on this with a newer VBIOS for the Gaming Trio X, and I repadded the Gigabyte Vision. Now, I am not an artist when it comes to repadding. I always go a little bit bigger than you're supposed to. You can probably see the white right here. Now, it does stick out a little bit. It's not hurting anything. I wouldn't say it's a complete waste of thermal pads, but they also did kind of get, squished between the back plate and the board itself. We do only have 2 and 3 millimeter thermal pads, and some of these are 2.5. So on the 2.5, I would actually just use 3, and you can kind of push it down. Our thermal pads are, pretty malleable, and so that worked just fine for me. I'm not, condoning it or anything, but don't let that stop you if you're going to repad. Some of the other pads online, they don't squish down all too much, but our thermal pads can kind of be padded down. When you tighten the screws down, it will squish it down on there. I believe it was the Vision. No, I'm sorry, it was not the Vision. It was the MSI Ventus that on the front side of it, I think it had to be 2.5, and we ended up using 3, and it was not enough to, separate the core from making contact with the radiator or heat sink, whatever you want to call it. And the core is doing just fine on that, no issues. We were able to push it down, make sure that it's level, but you can kind of see again the pads on the back there kind of sticking out a little bit. I go, like I said, I always go a little bit bigger rather than a little bit shorter. Now here is the back plate kind of curves over, so you're not going to be able to see the pads on this one. Actually, you can see the pads on this one. This is really sticking out down here. Could have probably gone a little bit shorter, but I've been doing so many repads on cards that honestly, I just, rather just get it over with quicker. And again, putting a little bit more does not hurt. And so starting with the MSI Gaming Trio here, I was unable to successfully get this to over 100 mega hash like I wanted it to. I've seen tons of guides online, and I was going to do a video on VBIOS flashing and everything like that. If you guys are interested in that, drop a comment down below. I can definitely do a video on that. But I flashed this with the new BIOS, and I was able to get it to about 91, 92 mega hash. So it's about 2 or 3 mega hash difference, and in my book, that's a win. But the real differences came with the MSI Ventus and of course the Gigabyte Vision. Now this Gigabyte Vision would get up to about 110, 112 degrees Celsius on the memory. And that was on a test bench by itself, open air test bench, and that's just insane. And now since we switched it over with our 20 watt thermal pads, this averages, I want to say, about 88 degrees Celsius on the memory, which is a significant drop in temperature. Like I've said, this thing's been mining for over a year. And I wish I did this a while ago. Of course, they didn't have 20 watt pads that were available then, but 15 watt pads definitely would have helped compared to what was on this stock. And a lot like this one, the Ventus also went from about, the really low 80s to now over 100 mega hash constant. The junction temperature on this would reach around 106 degrees Celsius, and our testing after on the test bench got it down to about the high 80s, just like the Gigabyte Vision over here. So we're really happy with that. The VBIOS was on the Gaming Trio X, did not touch the EVGA for the Win 3. That came out of the box just perfect. And also the Asus TUF that is down here, that came out of the box just fine as well, so we didn't touch that. So we are getting 100, 91, 100, 100, and 100 on this, and we are excited about that. Now, the cooling on this rig is a little bit, special. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this around so that you guys can see it. So here we have it. These are PVIA frames. Of course, this, you didn't see the GPURisers SSD, you didn't see the fans. This is prior to all of that, but you could tell that we wanted to go with the white. However, these white have all burned out. I think maybe this one's a little bit lit. They all burned out actually about a month or two after I got them. So that was very discouraging. Also, you can see the screwdriver that pulls off and peels off the white paint that I did. These are on the outside because they can't fit on the inside because of how long these cards are. And these are still on the inside because these cards are not as long. Same with the bottom. We actually have 2 Delta fans here. And so the 2 Delta fans came from the Radeon 7 rig that I had. And I figured that this whole thing was going to be filled out with 8 of these 3080 non-LHRs. However, as this build was going, they got harder and harder to get. The prices kept going up in the third market. I was not going to pay the insane prices that are out there. And then finally, while I was waiting, Nvidia was switching over to the LHR cards. And so this rig just never ever got finished. That's why this rig also features a ASRock H110 Pro BTC board. It's meant for 13 GPUs, and as you can see, I only have 5 connected right now. So the reason why that board was used is, again, to future-proof it so I can add as time went on. And of course, we were unable to do that. I had a lot of 3060 Ti rigs, 3070 rigs that had, about, I want to say 5, 6 cards on them that could fit, 8. And if you watch the videos in the past, I kind of had to consolidate them down because of LHR models and everything like that. So long story short, guys, I am going to be swapping this board out because I am going to be continuing to build, 8 to 12 card rigs, whether it's 6600 XT, 6600s, 3060 Ti LHRs, whatever it may be. But this board is kind of useless on a rig with 5 cards, so we are switching over to the BioStar TB250-BTC. So yes, this is printer paper protecting the CPU socket. Nothing fancy here. I am going to be adding in a Intel, I believe, G4400, a 8GB stick of ballistics RAM, and just a pretty generic Cooler Master CPU cooler. I actually do need to put a battery there. Probably gonna forget that until it stops booting back up, but I'm gonna try to remember to do that. I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, I got a battery, so that is so I don't forget that. So of course I have these Delta fans here. I thought I was gonna have 8 of these cards. That is not the case. I thought the Delta fans would be able to adequately, cool these. However, that was not the case. The only real way to get these to stop thermal throttling is putting on aftermarket thermal pads. But now that these are all cleaned up, I am going to swap out some of these older splitters here for the white. Not really any reason other than just aesthetics. And of course I will be putting these fans off to the side. Again, I'll probably put these in a grab bag. So that is actually what I will be doing for this video. I'm gonna take off these 6 EVGA fans. They all work. They just have kind of broken LEDs in them. They're a little bit dusty, and I will be taking off these 2 Delta fans. Now these 2 Delta fans are 4,000 RPM. If you don't know what you're doing, you will really hurt yourself if you stick your finger in there. That's why there's guards on there. But if you want to be entered in to win this grab bag, for this video, head over to our Discord. There will be a giveaway set up by the time that this video launches. Might be there a little bit early if you guys are already in the Discord. But this grab bag for this video will be 8 total fans and 2 Delta fans. Again, guys, be very careful with these Delta fans, and just know that these fans LEDs are burnt out or pretty close to being burnt out. But of course we will drop a link down below to join our Discord, and you guys can head over to the giveaway tab to enter to get these 8 fans. So moving on from that, I will take these apart and put them off to the side for whoever wins. But we do have an EVGA 1600 watt, I believe, P2 power supply here. We're gonna move that thing over to this. And of course this motherboard I am going to completely take off, keep the CPU on, everything like that, and we will save that for a future build. So guys, that was a whole lot of ranting. I'm gonna go ahead, get that motherboard all together, get that screwed on the frame, get the power supply moved over, and we will be right back. All right guys, I got the other frame out of here, got all of the RTX 3080s off of there. I did take apart all the fans and everything like that, and there were a couple issues with the Molex connections that these had. A couple of them pulled out, so I will not be including those fans. So instead I'm going to throw in some of the risers from there. 2 of these 120 millimeter fans, 2 of the 4,000 RPM Delta fans, and 4 of our older Model 4 capacitor risers, along with a just a generic splitter. It has the yellow cables in there and everything like that. So I will be throwing all of this into a box. This will only be for people in the US. So other ones will include Canada as well. But for this one, I am using a priority mailbox. So just only the US for this. So let me go ahead and get all of that out of there. I am gonna go ahead and start assembling this. I do have the motherboard and power supply all in there, ready to go. I just need to get 4 more risers, and then I can get all of this put together and put onto a rack. So that said, let me go ahead, clear all this out. I'm gonna go ahead and get the graphics cards on, and we'll be right back. All right guys, we are back, and we have everything all put together on the rig. So I decided to put 2 cards on the top, 3 on the bottom. Again, when this was set up before, I was planning on having a total of 8 of these, but obviously plans changed. This just gives it more, airflow between all of them. Let's go ahead and flick this on, and we have to press the power button. Okay. So it looks like all the cards are running. I don't have the internet hooked up to this, but it looks like everything's good to go. All the fans are on, and you can really feel the airflow on here. I think having more room up here will be better for this. I am actually not going to keep this rig back here for now. I am going to be putting this in the front. The front is really where I have my office, and I'm currently still working on that. I want to do more videos of me, sharing my screen, and I also want to be in the videos. So that all is being kind of under construction a little bit right now. I was originally going to have something over here in the darkness. There's not much light over there right now, but I think I'm going to just do a different kind of studio with my front room, but that's all a work in progress for now. But that's going to be everything for this video, guys. Again, if you want to enter to win the fans and the old risers and stuff like that, head over to our Discord. There will be a giveaway there. So it's kind of like times, you know, where you don't really have more cards and you're not really in the building phase, which I am going to still be looking for cards. However, you know, when I first got in here, if you guys have been following along, I was, you know, kind of rampaging on building rigs. I had a lot of cards sitting. But now that the builds have slowed a little bit and it's hard, it still seems like it's actually harder to get cards now than it was a while ago, but I think I'm gonna go for more 3070 Ti's. Those seem like the sweet spot. And also with those from my initial testing on T-Rex Miner, you can mine both ETH and Ethereum. And I've seen some YouTubers call it Alphium. Let me know if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I really have no idea. So yeah, it's kind of like times like this where, you know, your builds have kind of slowed, you're kind of consolidating down, and you can really focus on some of the older rigs that you might not have fine-tuned, and that's exactly what these RTX 3080 non-LHRs were. Like I said in the beginning of the video, you know, 2 of them were thermal throttling instantly, and one of them had a V-BIOS that it's still not great, but it's a little bit better. And I did clean them when I took them apart. I added new risers, some splitters. The case fans in the back actually work and they move air now, so this overall will be cooled, not just more spaced out, but there is more CFM going through here. I did swap out the motherboard so that I can save the 13 GPU for a build like one of these, and I cleaned out the power supply, any dust and everything like that. So this is kind of my time to go back with some of the older rigs that I have and kind of give them a little bit of a refresh, make sure all the connections are fine, make sure all the risers are good, and it kind of increase the longevity and lifespan of the overall rig. And of course, swapping out thermal pads. I think I am actually going to be swapping these out even on cards that aren't necessarily thermal throttling yet. Mining does take quite a toll on these cards, and any kind of heat dissipation off of those chips will increase the life of them. So I'm going to stop it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope everyone that's watching this has a great rest of their day, and we'll see you guys next time.